You can call me Ms. Mimi, and I am disabled. I worked since 1984 and paid taxes. I have been disabled since 2017. Today, I am sharing my experience about the government programs and how they weaponized funded programs against U.S. citizens and favorable to illegal immigrants. The government actors use such tactics to control and censor voices. This is Pearlie Imani Gooding, who is a part of the family. He supported and assisted me with my disabilities. Due to my disability, I was approved for home health services beginning 2020 in my late 40s. There was issues with home health aides that my possessions in my home were missing. When I reported such activities, the Maryland Department of Health began to rebel against me, only to take services from me that was needed for my health and wellness without due process. I was approved for Medicaid the month of March 1, 2024, after I was ineligible for the EID program, a program for working persons with disability. I had stopped working due to an accident which exacerbated my pre-existing disabilities. July 2024, I began to receive medical bills. I read the medical bills, which indicates that Medicaid is not paying their portion. I contacted Montgomery County Health and Human Services, and they responded that I have Maryland Medicaid. Maryland Medicaid is a joint federal-state program that provides free health insurance to low-income Maryland residents. I meet all qualifications listed to receive Medicaid. The state of Maryland Medicaid program I am eligible for because of the income guidelines listed. No one from the government can explain due to the Maryland Medicaid approval letter why the medical bills is not paid. In Maryland, Black people is disproportionately living in poverty, followed by Hispanics and then white people. Older adults are disproportionately affected by poverty. Black women in Maryland are living in poverty by 25%, and women that are head of household are living in poverty by 18.9% in Maryland. The state of Maryland favorably approved illegal immigrants without background and violated the law illegally crossing the border to receive Medicaid, while there are many Maryland citizens, especially disproportionately U.S. citizens of color, who do not have medical insurance. The Affordable Care Act, ACA, also known as Obamacare, aims to ensure that everyone has health insurance. The ACA's goal is to reduce the number of uninsured people and to make healthcare more accessible. The system has failed Marylanders, especially Black people. The state of Maryland is undemocratic against Black Americans to speak in public meetings. When a Black person wants to speak like any other citizens, the Democrats will weaponize the police to violate civil rights and liberties only to intimidate the Black community from speaking in public meetings. Maryland honored Harriet Tubman. She was a Black enslaved woman who became a conductor on the Underground Railroad, by helping other Black enslaved people escape to freedom and from white supremacy. Tubman was a devout Christian nicknamed Moses for her efforts, similar to the biblical prophet who freed the Hebrews from Egypt. To honor a Black woman who fought against oppression, the state of Maryland still refused to combat the Black wealth gap in the state of Maryland. President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1, 1863. The proclamation declared that all persons held as slaves within the rebellious states are, and henceforward shall be free. The third state constitution, which abolished slavery in Maryland, went into effect November 1, 1864. Slavery still left psychological damage and atrocities inflicted on Black people during that point of time, and even today, are the most outrageous examples of injustice and depression ever experienced by humanity, by Kashif Malik Hassaniel. The justice system became about politics and not about justice. It is used to weaponize U.S. citizens. The government has not tackled the systemic issues and to hold due legal process. Black citizens do not have a right to hold the first Black governor accountable because he is Black. 2014, Obama the first Black president while Black unemployment was 14%, the Congressional Black Caucus said. Finally, as to the economy, then chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, Emanuel Cleaver, Democrat Missouri, admitted, with 14% Black unemployment, if we had a white president we'd be marching around the White House. The president knows we are going to act in deference to him in a way we wouldn't to someone white. Government transparency eliminates black candidates? Willie Lynch syndrome exists today. It's more sophisticated, implicit, silent, and justified. Using the difference between black people only to divide them against each other using factors of age, color, intelligence, size, sex, wealth, the hair texture, etc. This sort of manipulation by the Willie Lynch letter will leaves blacks only to trust and be reliant on the oppressor. Conspiracy against rights is a federal crime that prohibits two or more people from conspiring to infringe on another person's rights. It is defined in Title 18, Section 241 of the United States Code. This code was created by President Grant to cease white supremacy, as it exists today. Free speech is a constitutional right, and the government should cease abusing their power against U.S. citizens in government programs, especially allowing illegal aliens to benefit off U.S. citizens' taxpayers. Next is a speech by Malcolm X about the Democratic Party.
Develop this political maturity. They're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. They see that the whites are so evenly divided that every time they vote, the race is so close, they have to go back and count the votes all over again. And which means that any block, any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who'll go to the White House and who'll stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You can keep Johnson in Washington, D.C., or you can send him back to his Texas cotton patch. You're the one who sent Kennedy to Washington. You're the one who put the present Democratic administration in Washington, D.C. The whites were evenly divided. It was the fact that you threw 80% of your votes behind the Democrats that put the Democrats in the White House. When you see this, you can see that the Negro vote is the key factor. And despite the fact that you are in a position to be the determining factor, what do you get out of it? The Democrats have been in Washington, D.C. only because of the Negro vote. They've been down there 4 years. And all other legislation they wanted to bring up, they brought it up and gotten it out of the way, and now they bring up you. And now they bring up you. You put them first and they put you last. Because you're a chump. A political chump. In Washington, D.C., in the House of Representatives, there are 257 who are Democrats. Only 177 are Republicans. In the Senate, there are 67 Democrats. Only 33 are Republicans. The party that you bash controls 2/3 of the House of Representatives and the Senate, and still they can't keep their promise to you, because you're a chump. Anytime you throw your weight behind a political party that controls 2/3 of the government, and that party can't keep the promise that it made to you during election time, and you're dumb enough to walk around continuing to identify yourself with that party, you're not only a chump, but you're a traitor to your race.